This is Brad, and welcome to my studio. Today I'm going to create a painting. It's not going to be any kind of instructional video, it's just going to be me working. I'm going to try to use some of the papers that we made recently in the making materials video. I've also pulled some images from magazines. I've got some eyes and some other body part things here. Got all my paints. I'm going to be working with the Nova gel medium. This is the gloss medium. I don't want the final piece to be glossy, but I do like the way it makes some things translucent. I'm going to be using some other handmade papers and stuff in there that I'd like to have a little bit of translucency. So anyway, this is going to be more of you watching me work and me not talking, hopefully, a whole lot. So I hope you enjoy the video, and I'm going to get started. I didn't mention that I did gesso this canvas. Was a raw canvas that I stapled up to the board on the wall here. And I did put a coat of gesso on that to prep it before I started this process so that it's sealed and it can take paint and mediums. Really scrape this down a little bit here. Let's see if we can get one of these pieces. Paper in there. Like it doesn't maybe. Okay. been largely using these papers to create some kind of underpainting and foundation here. I don't really know what's going to happen. I have some ideas with those magazine pages I ripped out, but we'll see. Let's see what happens. Okay. As you can see, this process goes pretty fast. Taking a cue from our little collage exercise that we did recently, I'm trying not to think too much about it when I lay down this initial layer, or glue down this initial layer. I've got a big bubble right here. I'm going to go ahead and just rip into that, because I don't actually want that big air gap there. So let's now, I'm not super worried with this layer about most of the wrinkles. I do want the magazine elements that I'm doing today to be smooth, and I'll show you how we'll achieve that. See, there's another bubble, but that's all right. This creates some interesting texture underneath here when we do that. Let's bring this guy back over. Okay. All right, that's pretty smooth. That all looks good. This one's got a little air. This gel medium, once you get it on there, man, that's, can't really peel that back off, but do it. Well, you can if you're not worried about how it looks, which at this point I am not. All right, I'm gonna probably glue a few more things onto here and then let that dry. So let me do that, and then be back to do the next stage. Okay, I put a little bit more on here, and it's not dry yet, but I'm going to go ahead and go in with some black paint. It's acrylic paint. I've diluted it with a little bit of water and some matte medium, and I'm just going to go sort of frame out my area. I'm just going to sort of get a feeling. I'm going to do some scraping too, to, if I cover up too much of this, I'm going to go back and reveal some of it again. So that's my next stage. All right, I'm gonna let that dry. All right, looks a little bit different. I wiped it down a little bit with a paper towel and did a little bit more scraping. Again, not completely dry, but I'm way too impatient to wait for every stage to dry completely. I'm gonna take this livestock marker in white and sort of draw out, make some marks to kind of draw out a figure that I think we're going to kind of loosely follow here in this. Again, all these stages, most of this we're not going to see in the final product, but I like it to be there, and some of it'll appear, it'll get scraped out. Anyway, I'm not too worried about being exact with any of these stages because we're just going to keep working this. All right, so I feel like I want this here somewhere, and I kind of have an idea of like that. All right, I'm gonna go ahead too and glue in my magazine images. But you know what? I gotta get something that's not here. I'll be right back. All right, so what I needed to get was some water. You know, you hear a lot of people on the forums, art forums on social media, talk about, especially in collage, how my piece is wrinkly, and then people say, well, you didn't use enough glue, you used too much glue, you didn't do, you know, I use a lot, I use a little, I think you get wrinkles either way. I don't think, the one way I've found to really prevent getting any wrinkles, and I'm gonna get some texture because of what's underneath here. This isn't a totally smooth surface, so it's not gonna be totally smooth, but to get things totally smooth in collage with magazine weight of pages, what I do is soak the page in water. Get it saturated with water first. Then let me grab some adhesive here and a brush. Then put down my whatever I'm going to adhere it with. Now you don't have that wrinkle problem if you're using a glue stick or something. In a piece like this, though, you don't want to. You want to use something that's archival and that's going to have some, you know, it's going to last. And I have this piece is totally wet now, all the way through. I put it in. That way, be a little bit careful with some, because you can really easily rip the magazine page, but once that dries, it'll be totally smooth. As smooth as it can be on top of the mess that I've made underneath here. So I'm going to continue doing that. I think I actually want to I like that mouth actually. Just get some eyes in here. Start anyway, see if that is in fact how I want that to go. Soak that whole thing
ripping this when it's wet, which is going to be really quite a bit careful there. There we go. All right. Anyway, that's my big tip for this whole video. Soak your magazine pages if you don't like wrinkles and you want them to be smooth. That is the way to make that happen. Alright, one more thing here. I want to still have two minds about whether I want to put that on there. I think maybe. No, it doesn't matter, it's all going to change, so let's put the big lips in. Yeah. Cool. All right, let's let that dry. All right, once again, not totally dry yet. Getting there, but I'm going to go ahead and move forward. I put a little palette of paint together. I've got some ultramarine blue, some crimson red, burnt sienna, burnt umber. There's a little bit of phthalo green there, some apricot, some mustard yellow or like yellow ochre, and then some lemon yellow. I have done a little bit more of the white oil stick, the livestock marker, and kind of mapped this out a little more. I'm going to start going in with some, oh, you know what? I need some white. Hold on, I'm not going to stop the video. I'm just going to grab my tube of white, whatever's closest. It's hugely important here. All right. Now, I'm just going to start messing around in here. Let's see. If I can start changing this a little bit. Some of that umber, it's a very umbery color up in there. A little bit of a highlight in there. That's a heck of an eyebrow. Some white here. That blue that's there, I'm going to go ahead and emphasize there's no reason to not have that part of it. Love that. Keep some of that eyebrow in there. You see? Some white in there. And I like this section here. I'm not going to, at least for now, I'm not going to get too much there. Some of this paint in here to get it started. Right? All right, you know what? I'm gonna work a little bit more on this, and I'll be back. All right, so mostly what I did was just bring in, just define some things a little bit more, and I brought in actually a lot more water on my brush and just kind of married some of those colors. Not so much that we lose some of that brush strokey kind of roughness, which I'm really liking. I'm going to open up my loose black again. This is the black again that I diluted with a little water and a little medium, and I'm just going to go in and maybe find some of this where we got out of bounds. I'm gonna take my knife and just tap in there and maybe see if I can clean up some of these lines just a little bit. I've used the word clean up loosely. I just create some definition. I don't have anything. There's no real clean lines in this at all, which is exactly right, I think. Let's make sure those nostrils don't get lost. That's good. So far I've left the lips sort of purely as magazine. That's that crazy eyebrow. So I'm going to ditch the knife and get my finger out here. Just bring in some more definition there. Yeah. All right. Cool. At this point, probably, I'll use some white paint here to sort of soften some of these edges. Again, I'm using my finger. Glue in there, that's nice. All right. You know what? I am like that. Okay. It's got one eyebrow. Let's get a brush. This black is a little loose. I don't want the eyebrows to be even. Do nothing in here looks symmetrical or even at all. All right. All right, for the purposes of this video, we're gonna call this done. I think we went through the process pretty well. That's how you see how I incorporated some magazine images, some of the papers. Like I said, most of it was gonna disappear, but you see some of that foundation that we put in there. Paint. We used the livestock marker. And yeah, I'll probably play around with this a little bit more, but that's it. Thanks for watching. Hey, please subscribe, share, like, and we'll see you in the next one.